Hello there. I'm Scotty. You're not. I don't know if you remember this particular series because I haven't done it in 3 years. But I had an initial series called the Exploring series, where I would explore, not like when I like exploring the MCU or exploring the DCEU or exploring Sam Raimi or those kind of things. No, no, no. This was when I explored the whole franchise at one video, and I talked just a little bit about going through the franchise. Uh, to this date, I haven't done a full franchise till now. Uh, I did the Bill and Ted trilogy. I did the 3 Boogeyman movies, those original 3, not the Stephen King one, and I did the White Noise movies, those 2. Now, this morning as I'm laying there waking up, I thought, why don't I bring this back? And I just thought about Texas Chainsaw Massacre because I was watching Hack the Movies Texas Chainsaw Massacre video, and I thought, well, why not start with that? My first full franchise I talked about in one of these videos. And then I looked it up. I put new thumbnails to those videos because what I was doing before was just taking pictures of the movies, thinking that's enough. I'm like, I didn't want to do that this time because, well, one, I'm missing one because the one that's on Netflix. So, yeah, we're going to explore the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise. I'll talk a little snippet about the movie and my personal thoughts about them. And I didn't watch some old videos. I don't know if I ranked them. Bill and Ted's always hard to rank. But so the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise started in 1974 with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, directed by Tobe Hooper, starring Gunnar Hansen, Jim Sedow, Marilyn Burns. And this is heralded as a horror classic, which I agree is a horror classic. But as I've stated before, it's not particularly my cup of tea while I go to the remake or even a couple of the sequels. Well, one sequel in particular. I can't say I'll watch 3 over this, but that's because the rewatch value of this. I'm not a fan of the grindhouse, gritty kind of things. And this movie, I've seen it once. When I did the review series, I didn't revisit this, which I probably should have. And it's due for one. Probably won't revisit the whole franchise because I don't have a way to watch the 2021 one. But or 2022? 2022, right? I don't know. I could pull up whatever. I have everything hooked up so I can pull it up if I need to. But yeah. But yeah, I do like it, and I but like my enjoyment of it is it's kind of grindhousey, and the characters are annoying as hell. You want them to die. Franklin, for one, like I don't even know if they would do that kill. This and the kill from Friday the 13th Part 2. I was thinking it this morning. Would they actually kill someone in a wheelchair nowadays? It's like killing someone who was gay. Would they do that? Maybe they have. I don't know. Actually, I think they have. Wrong Turn. The new one had a gay couple, right? And they died. But they killed lesbians. So I guess. But like, I'm just saying, like, would they kill someone in a wheelchair now? Or a handicapped person now? I don't know. But Franklin, I'm not saying he deserved it, but he was annoying and I wanted him to die. But, And then there's the family. The Shaw is family. The hitchhiker and the Drayton Sawyer, as we know him now, but he was just the old man here. And Gunnar Hansen's portrayal of Leatherface is really good, or Jed, or whatever you want to call him. But yeah, it's a classic. It's in the middle of my list of my ranking. I don't remember what my ranking was. I may have put more than just 1 above this, 2 above this. This is one of the franchises that has both a sequel and a remake that's better than the original. And the other one is Friday the 13th. I can think off the top of my head. So, yeah. I mean, don't think I hold that remake was trash. And while I like the remake of Child's Play, and everybody says Child's Play 2 is better, nostalgia. I love Child's Play. So, yeah. So that happened. Then, nearly over a decade later, Canon Films persuaded Toby Hooper to come back and direct a sequel, which he added more comedy to because he said his original was also supposed to be a dark comedy. Which, no, that's not. No one got that. So we have the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 or Part 2. This is the very mismarketed DVD, as they were trying to be like Saw at this point. When did this DVD come out? 2006. Yep, they were trying to copy Saw. This was like the 20th anniversary DVD. This is not even anything spectacular. I like the one where they're like the Breakfast Club. That's the one I like. This is trying to be Saw. This is MGM. It's interesting that a bunch of different franchises, because this was released by Dark Sky Films, the Blu-ray and the DVD. I have both in steelbook form. I did. Right. This is MGM, as you can see from the top there. And this takes place, it would be 12 years later, and it is the only one, to my knowledge, that actually continues the story of the first one, as if the first one is actually happening, because they tried to retcon a few things in the next ones. It was like, here, you got the old man, you got Leatherface, or Drayton, you got Leatherface, Chop Top, which is a very appreciated, welcome edition is what I want to say. Nick, my black dog, Nick, dog will hunt. Dog will hunt. Nom land. Bubba got a girlfriend. Bubba's got a girlfriend. I can see some people thinking he's annoying, but I have fun with him. The mostly is fantastic. And you have Lucky, who is the uncle of Sally and Franklin from the first one. I bet he's like, I'll get revenge for my niece, but my nephew was a pain in the ass. No, he's not like that. But yeah, and it's, a radio station gets a call in from two fucking idiots who are then killed by the Sawyers, and it's recorded. So they send Bubba, or Leatherface, and I just said it. Chop Top. My mind blanked. Chop Top to deal with it. And the DJ named Stretch, who is our final girl for this. She wants to be a reporter. According to the third one, she becomes a reporter, but may just be a cameo from Carolyn Williams, but I don't know. And yeah, it all goes to this amusement park where they live now, apparently because their house is no longer able to live there. And Lucky chops the place down, and she escapes, but yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I like this one better than the first one, in my opinion. And I'm not saying it's definitively a better movie. I'm just saying I like it more than the first one. I like it better than the first one. To me, this one, I've only watched this one once anyway, but I'll go back to watch it. I want to get the Blu-ray, but I have the DVD. Yeah. Then, 14 years later, am I right? No, 4 years. 14. 4 years later, in 1990, we got Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, directed by Jeff Burr. You must be cold. And starring Ken Foray, Viggo Mortensen, R.A. Mihailoff as Leatherface, and Billy from the Power Rangers. Well, his name is William Butler, who directed other things, and Kate Hodge. And it's a couple who are traveling down a long and lonesome road, but they did not find a shiny demon in the middle of the road, and it did not challenge them to a sing-off. So this is not Tenacious D. Anyway, they happen upon the Sawyers. This movie kind of retcons the first one to saying that there was no proof of a Leatherface. They retconned the second one completely. They said there was no proof of Leatherface. There was only a E.L. Sawyer, I think was what it was. And he was found, persecuted, and said that Leatherface was his alter ego or something. The only thing I think of was that Drayton? Was that the old man and they changed his name? I don't know. But Yeah. This one's weird. I have fun with it. I do. I understand it's probably the most meh of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies, but I can enjoy it. I've seen it quite a few times. This is one, for some reason, this is the one they play on AMC during, like, this and the remake. I don't, and again, we jumped, maybe because of where they're from, we jumped from MGM to New Line Cinema now, which I remember when I first watched the DVD for the remake, they showed the Excalibur inspired trailer with the lady of the lake or whatever she's called throwing out the chainsaw to him. A chainsaw. Leatherface did not look like that. That was actually Kane Hodder that did that in the trailer, I believe. And he does some stunt stuff in this one too. But yeah. Ken Foree, Roger Rockmore as Benny, who was supposed to get killed off, but then wasn't because the test audience liked him. It doesn't work because clearly he dies, but they cut off where his head gets cut off. Cut off, his head cut off. And then he shows up later and he's like, I'm fine, let's go. But what? Where did he get the car from? And how did he? Well, I guess he got the car. He's there. I don't know, but yeah. And I guess that the one dude, was it Alfredo, was supposed to have died in the woods in the original cut, and in this version he's still alive and they killed him here. I don't know, but I it's fine. I have fun with it. It's not the worst portrayal of Leatherface. Well, we'll get there, but yeah. There's also a little girl there and a mom, which is different. But no explanation what happens to the little girl after this. They retcon things again. So then, in 1994, 20 years after the events of the film, they were to release The Return of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I think it was supposed to come out earlier than that, but it became the Texas Chainsaw Massacre at the beginning because Columbia Pictures had no faith in this. That's where we go to now, and they're like, okay, we don't want to do this. And then the two stars got famous. Matthew McConaughey and Renee Zellweger, they got famous, and they're like, well, now we can market this. But they're like, the lawyers are like, no, say I. You cannot put their faces on the DVD on any of the marketing. Well, that didn't listen to that, did they? No, and this is the worst one. What is The Rock? This is the biggest piece of dog shit I have ever seen. That of the meme of him. Yeah. Aside from Matthew McConaughey, who's giving it his fucking all in this movie. But everything else, just like the plot, the acting, for one. And I'm not saying McConaughey, he would win an Oscar later. Here with this, no. But like I'm just saying, compared to everyone else in this movie, one of the first scenes is there's this girl talking to another girl and she can't get a complete sentence out. She's like, I'm like, there's something wrong with you? Do you need some medication or what is? I don't know. And it's rehashing all the premises. They drive away, they get lost somewhere, and they come across the Sawyers or the Slaughters in this case. And not Vigo. There's one named E.W. Sawyer is what it was. And one of them was named E.W. here. So I don't know. And I don't remember if there was I don't remember the retconning of what happened. I can look it up, I guess. I keep forgetting that I have the on. Bada bada boom, bada boom, bada boom. Maybe we'll say in the thing. Probably not, but we'll see. Still in the Naked Brothers band. The Texas Chain. Actually, it's just Texas Chainsaw Massacre, not the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Let me go back. Let's just go to the franchise, and I'll find it. Return of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's still done as that. Later released as Texas 1995. So it said 1994, but I guess 95. I don't know. It just says May, and it takes place in 96, I guess. May 22, 1996, 23 years after Leatherface's killing spree in 1973. So the first one takes place in 1973. I guess that makes sense. But they don't explain anything, retconning wise. And then there's the Illuminati subplot. And then, Vilmer is his name. He gets by a plane. I don't know. There's way too much going on in this movie, and it's crap. But luckily, we would have to wait. This came out in 95, so we'll have to wait only 8 years for New Line to get the rights back and remake a Texas Chainsaw Massacre with none other than Michael Bay at the helm. Well, he produced it through his Platinum Dunes production company. I just realized I was supposed to keep that playing. Hold on. Fucking it. Just play the video. I'm not gonna sit through your ads. People, I know that you're doing it to make money, but I will never sit through your ads. I'm just gonna keep going until it allows me to play the video. So just so you know. Anyway, we got Texas Chainsaw Massacre from 2003. This movie better, much better than this or 3 and 2, for that matter. It's a remake, and it kind of reimagines the Sawyers as the Hewitts, with R. Lee Ermey as the sort of Drayton Sawyer, but does a lot more than Drayton Sawyer ever did in those original films. And now Leatherface is now Thomas Hewitt, and it's set in the 1973 or 1970s. What is and follows a group young adults, I don't know if those teenagers, young adults who are on their way back from a Leonard Skinner concert to a Leonard Skinner concert. They also had a whole bunch of weed, and then they stumble upon a hitchhiker, much like in the original, but this one's a woman, and she blows her brains out after pulling a gun out of her hoo-hoo. And then, everything goes down. Sheriff Hoyt shows up, and there's just chaos, and people getting their limbs. It is grimy, it's dirty, but not as grimy and dirty as the next one would be, which is why I like it. And it's fun. My personal favorite of this whole entire franchise would be number 1. And then they decided, well, we want to tell more stories about this family. The problem is, we kill Arlie Ermey off at the end of the last one. He got run over by a car, or a van. So what do we do now? Well, we do a prequel. Y'all know how I feel about prequels. I just love them. So yeah, a lot of people say this is better than 2003. Nay, says I. This is just unnecessary. Because 1, they introduce us to 4 new main characters. You don't care about them because you know they're all going to die because they're not in the other one. Though they could have let one get away, I don't know. But no, it's just like, no, she's dead in there. And it's like, we have to answer all these questions that we left open in the last one. Like, how did Sheriff Hoyt, he's not really Sheriff Hoyt, how did Charlie lose his teeth? No one cares. How did Monty lose his feet? No one cares. What was Leatherface like as a child? He was born deformed. And it's nasty. They show the nasty childbirth in a meat factory, and the meat factory is the part of the original, but still, it's just gross. There's this grossness in this entire movie. And I do not like it, Sam I am. It's still not as bad as... I'll watch this again, though I can't with this. Not only because my Blu-ray player still ain't working, but this disc doesn't work. I had to rent it on Xbox, which I can no longer do. But whatever you have on there, you can still watch, but you can't buy anymore. So, but eventually I'll get a new one. Just not in a hurry. to get a new copy of this to watch this again. You know what I mean? So then that was that in 2006. It was done, right? We were done. We're gonna have more. Can we have more? I don't know how you would have done a sequel because I don't know. Also, I want to point out what his leg was cut off in the original one, and then they retcon that in the second one to he just had a leg brace. Then they don't ever go back to his leg getting cut off. Because we talk about in 2013 we have Texas Chainsaw or Texas Chainsaw 3D. There, movie that everybody hates on. I have fun with it. I think it's one of those what people say guilty pleasures, which I think is just what people say an excuse to say they like watching a movie that everyone else says is bad, instead of just saying that they actually like it and like to watch the movie. They just go, it's a guilty pleasure, I get guilty pleasure out of it. Just say you like the damn movie. Anyway, this one is retcons everything. The first to do it, by the way, that I know of. Well, if you take the other ones, but this is the first one in the modern day to actually go back before Halloween 2018 did it, by the way. And there was another one where you go back only to the original, and this is gonna pick up where the original left off. Except there's like 15 more people at the house than there was at the end of the original film, including a baby that's left. And it, from 1973, it grows up to 2013 to be a 40-year-old, 25-year-old Alexander Daddario. Yeah, by admittance of the filmmakers themselves, it was originally supposed to be set in the 90s, so 1993, I'm guessing. But it got changed during the rewrites. Who directed this? This was directed by John Nestrup. Look who wrote this. Adam Marcus! Responsible for Jason Goes to Hell, which I don't think is as bad as everyone else says it is, but whatever. But yeah, and so we start off where the last one ended, and then we cut to an undetermined amount of time later. Modern days, who knows? It certainly doesn't feel like it, but then people are using smartphones. And I'm like, he could have... Cops always have flashlights, right? He could have just used a flashlight. Why did he need to use his phone? Because he's got to be on the talking to Bert. They would have radios. They're cops. Cops have radios. There's a way to work around it to make it work. And they even know they fucked up. Because there's a scene where she goes to her aunt's grave. And the date of when she died, because she just died very recently, is covered over. Because then they didn't want people to point out that it was wrong. But people are smart enough to realize, well, if this was supposed to be taking place now, as it feels like, you know. And they hit the nail on the head too much with her being a butcher, even though she didn't know that she was a Sawyer. And there's this Verna Sawyer, a character we never heard of before until the next one. It was played by Marilyn Burns, and Gunnar Hansen has a cameo at the beginning, and that's really all you get. Bill Moseley does come back, but he plays Drayton Sawyer at the beginning here. And yeah. And in spite of do your thing, cuz I can have some enjoyment from this film. Okay, I do. Quick fact, Alexander Daddario, when they have her hanging up, was supposed to be topless, but she refused, so that you get just cleavage, which... why would they just have her topless anyways? I don't know. And they try to make the family, who were legit cannibals, evil people, in the previous installments and the original, which they're connecting to this, they're like, no, they're the good guys here. And she sides with Leatherface, and is not going to take care of him. After everyone says, oh, well, after he killed her friends, if you really think about it, her friends were, except for, Andy, the one who was going to make the burgers, everyone else was a piece of shit. The hitchhiker tried to steal from them. Nikki was trying to fuck her boyfriend. The boyfriend fucked Nikki and cheated on her. Three of them could have died, but Andy was in the remake. The guy who was going to make the burgers, he was just looking through stuff. He didn't deserve to die. He was just went to the kitchen, right? No, that's her. But no, he just wanted to make burgers, man. He did nothing wrong. In fact, since they didn't know he was dead, technically she was cheating on him with the other girl's boyfriend. In her mind, at least. But yeah, everyone's like, oh, but gee, she sided with the guy who killed all her friends. Well, all her friends were pieces of shit anyway, except for the guy who wanted to make the burgers. Just let him make the burgers, man. You like burgers? I don't know, but I do like the post-credit scene where her parents, or her her adopted parents, show up and are like, she has lots of money. We're gonna get that, and then presumably Ghostface, Leatherface kills them. You know, I don't know. And then they weren't content enough because they were gonna make like a trilogy of these. That didn't work out the way they wanted to because the reception for this was not so good. So they decided to make another prequel, this time to the original movie, but using the retcon stuff from this movie. And so we got Leatherface, which featured Lily Taylor playing Verna Sawyer, a character who didn't exist before this one, and running, catching the ire, is that how it is, of Sheriff Hartman, because they're all law enforcement. I'm assuming he's supposed to be Burr's father. I don't think grandfather, assuming because his daughter is killed, and that's what sparks the feud between the Hartmans and the Sawyers. And there's a whole thing with where Leatherface or Jed gets taken as a kid. No, they don't call him Jed here; they call him something else. But anyway, and there's a whole thing where the three escapees take a nurse, and you're supposed to wonder who is Leatherface. You see this big fat dude, and you think that's gotta be Leatherface. And then he's caught up halfway through the film, and surprise, it's the other dude. But you already kind of figured it was the other dude, because it's so much big of a red herring for this fat dude to be Leatherface. And acting like Leatherface, you're like, it just can't be, if you know horror films. And then the ending where he kills her, the nurse anyway. Though, I know he has to because he's gonna be Leatherface. But I always felt, and I've seen this movie twice, it was on like Sci-Fi Channel or something before something else was going to come on. I saw the ending again twice, I guess I should say. I didn't watch the whole thing twice. It's the first time all the way through, and in the end before something else was going to come on. Was it Chucky, the show? I don't know. But like, he kills the nurse, and it almost feels like he shouldn't. Like he should take a new leaf and kill his mother and walk off. But because he has to be Leatherface, he has to kill the nurse and join his mom. And that's where I think the script has its faults. Like it's a decent kind of film where it could be this guy who has this terrible family who's going to turn on them. But you know that Verna has to survive. You know the others have to survive. So there's not really... Yeah. And that was 2017. And then in 2022... I believe so. Let me check to make sure. I thought it was 2021, but I think it was 2022, actually. Don't go to YouTube, you idiot. I paused that by accident. $2022. They're making another one by Curry Barker. I guess. Which is weird because his film isn't. Well, I guess it was in like a festival circle, wasn't it? I don't know. But they had another movie called Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which came out on Netflix in 2022. I didn't think it was that bad. Everybody shit on it because of that scene where there's a bunch of influencers who go, do it and we'll get canceled. Bitch, he doesn't care. He's Leatherface. He murders the fuck out of all of them. And the whole thing about them, so I'm kind of half and half on this. I thought about this earlier. They want to restore this place. That's good. They want a place for people to go. But then they kick Alice Krige out of her house. Illegally, I guess, because she still has the deed. But it's like, they bought every other place in this. They really could have talked it out. It's like, we bought every other place in this town. We could help restore your building and make it look better if you cooperate with us, all sorts of things. But they just sort of force her out, and she dies, and this causes Leatherface to freak out because she was a surrogate mother. I don't know if Verna exists in this universe. I thought they were going to make her Verna and Rick on other stuff, but they don't. It's just like, no, she's this old lady that took Leatherface in, even though at the end of the first one, because it's another one that retcons everything but the first one, Drayton was at least still alive, right? So did he go there after Drayton died, I'm guessing? And this is like a 70-something-year-old man by this point. Old man Leatherface. Yeah, and the ending where he just cuts out the sister's head caught me off guard the first time I watched it. It's a fun ending. And then the little post-credit scene where he goes home. And again, if you think about that, what's home? What family does he have? What if Drake was the only one left, right? Could they connect this to the second film? And Chop Top is still there, though he was kind of dead. I don't know. But I don't know. I had fun with this, and I kind of wanted a sequel. Do this, but we're not getting that. We're getting another remake thing with the Curry Barker one. No release date. I didn't realize that was happening. All American Massacre is something to look at. It's a movie that has never been released. Is both a sequel and a prequel to Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. It's a 15-minute, considered a 50-minute short, but was spent into a 60-minute feature. Directed by William Hooper, son of Toby Hooper, Bill Moseley reprises his role as Chop Top, who would have been revealed to survive the events of Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, and been in a Texas psychiatric prison for a number of years. The plot, the film was set on Chop Top detailing his past in an interview with a news crew before carrying out a new series of murders. Buckethead played Leatherface in the film. A trailer for All American Massacre was released on the internet, but the film itself was never released. While the film is yet to be officially released, VHS work print surfaced on eBay listing August 2025. You want to know more about that? Go to Planet CCH. He talked all about this. He has more knowledge than I do. CHH. Planet CHH. I always get that wrong. Christian Hannah Horror. Go to his. According to seller Dusty Shedd, it was previously auctioned off by Stephen, not pronouncing that last name, executive producer of one of the actors in the film. It was kept in a storage locker along with 40 promo film slides. The seller also noted that the work print is unedited and incomplete, was sold for $8,500 a few days later on August 20th. There's more here. In 2012, a continuation of the Secret Society subplot from Return to Texas Chainsaw Massacre, titled Butcher Boys, was released in 2012. Despite the film featuring no characters from the film, it does set out to answer the ambiguity of the subplot. Really? Produced by Kim Henkel. Okay, the theme park attraction. I did not know about Butcher Boys, but anyway, so there it is. There you have it. And my ranking, as of right now, would be at the very bottom. The worst is, of course, Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Next Generation, followed swiftly by Leatherface. After that, I would do the Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Beginning. People might be pissed off at it, who knows. Followed by Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, because it's meh. Then Texas Chainsaw 3D, followed by the original. Blasphemy, I know, but it's up there at the top for sure. And then Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, and of course the remake is number 1. So there you go. Which I'm going to start doing at the end, is re-ranking them. So I don't have to do new ranking videos unless a new one comes out. I forgot the remake from 2022. So let's restart it, shall we? Texas Chainsaw Massacre: Next Generation at the bottom. How many of these are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 9. So number 9, Texas Chainsaw Massacre: Next Generation. Number 8, Leatherface. Number 7, Beginning. And then we'll put the 2022 one here at number 6. And then number 5 is Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. Number 4, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Texas Chainsaw 2013, the 3D. Number 3, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original. Number 2, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, and the remake is number 1 still, of course. When you don't have a physical version, Netflix, you kind of don't. I heard they were going to actually release one at some point, but I don't know when. Maybe I misheard. I don't know. But there you go. I explored the franchise. We'll see what one I do next. I don't know. Maybe I'll ask you guys. We'll see. Uh, but so, what are your thoughts on the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise? What's your favorite? What's your least favorite? Maybe even do a little ranking. Who knows? Link, comment, social, like, share, subscribe. Thank you for watching. I'm Sky, and I'll see you in the next one.